That night at Tidmouth Sheds, the other engines had returned from a hard day's work. But they all stared at James. He was unusually quiet and looked very pale. Gordon soon broke the silence. If I didn't know any better, which is quite rare, I'd say poor little James has seen a ghost. The other engines laughed too. All except for Edward. Well, I did see something, said James. What was it? Has Scary Jack Frost come back to scare you again? Laughed Henry. I saw a scrap engine, said James mournfully. The other engine stopped laughing then. Is that it? Said Gordon. I understand it's rather distressing to see those poor souls, but you've seen them plenty of times, James, and have never looked this shocked about it. James finally looked up from his buffers. This one was, well, different. And he told all the others about what he had saw. Everyone went very silent now. Gordon was even regretting teasing James. At last, Thomas spoke. You must have seen a victim of the half engine. James went red in the face. Oh, I don't need your teasing tonight, Thomas. Thomas just frowned. I'm not teasing. I know why that engine is like that. Edward, who had known Thomas for far longer, recognised he was being serious. Go on then, Thomas. Tell us. Well, a long time ago, before the North Western Railway was an established company, there was an engine who was brought in to help build the railway, along with myself and others. This engine was different. Something very horrible went wrong with her construction, for she only had half of a face, and the other half being her smokebox door. We could barely understand what she was trying to say. Maintenance on her was a nightmare to watch and listen to, and through all of this, she was in immense, excruciating pain. Her cries and wails for the pain to go away were so horrid that me and the other engines could hardly stomach it. But the nastiest of us, and even some of the crews, thought it was a great joke. And this would all boil up inside of her. And one day, she changed for the worst. Her behaviour became more violent. She would berate even the ones who felt pity for her by snarling and growling in anger. To make things worse, she would always venture out of the shed at night and head down a heavily forested line. And when coming back, she would talk of nothing but how we would all perish in her garbled, barely identifiable speech. Some of us, myself included, began to believe she'd been driven mad in all her suffering, seeking any way to be rid of her deformity. Eventually, the Fat Controller at the time had had enough and ordered an engine to take her away to be scrapped. During that same time, me and another engine were heading home from work. But as we made our way down the line, we could smell smoke coming from the same direction as the scrapyard, and the sounds of fire engines in the distance. We rushed to see what had happened, and it's a sight I'll never forget. The scrapyard shed, where the engine was supposed to be in, had burnt down. But the worst part was the engine's body was nowhere to be found, except the one who had took her away, which was now cut in half. Now it appears her spirit is still around. Everyone at the sheds was deeply disturbed. Everyone, that is, except Gordon. Pah! You all truly believe in cheeky little Thomas's story? Huh! James, what you saw was likely not as strange as you think. The fog could have made you think it was just cut so strangely. Gordon, I'm serious. The half engine is all too real. Gordon just chuckled. Of course she is. Just like every other tall tale you've told. And with that, Gordon went into the shed to sleep. And one by one, the other engines followed suit. But they found it very hard to sleep that night, in fear that the half engine was around.